Hello, 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 and welcome to My Empty Hands, the podcast about the martial arts, typically with a focus on Kempo. As always, I am Reggie Darden, and today I have another wonderful guest with me today. I have William McDonald today, and yeah, we're going to get into his journey and in the martial arts and whatever other items that we decide to talk about. We'll get to that as well. Just I usually kind of kick things off with just a tiny tiny bit of my background. I started formally in the martial arts in the 90s. Started in a school that was a Chinese Kempo school. Since then, I have trained in American Kempo, Taekwondo, Hapkido, Muay Thai. I've done some Western boxing and capoeira. Let's see. Did I forget any? I also recently started Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, so I stay pretty busy. So that is just kind of my little bit of background there, and we may get into more of my story as we go along. But gonna turn it over to our esteemed guest here. And how did the martial arts find you? When did you get started? And we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, first, Reggie, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show. It's always a great honor to meet great people like yourself to try to get the word of martial arts out there. I think that's very important, and I actually create more of a unification between everyone and their systems. So thank you for that. But Reggie, yeah, thank you for having me on your show. A little bit about myself. My name is William McDonald. Um, I've been in the martial art industry this year. Will be 53 years. I started when I was 7 years old. So I'll let you figure out how old I am. I dare not tell the truth, you know.
That
I
works for
always
me.
say that. Right, right, right. So if you can do some math, you know how old I am. But you're a Kempo guy. I actually started in Kempo when I was 7 years old, and the what got me into it. um, my tell is that, and why I'm still doing what I do, is the roots of my journey that began when I was six years old. So when I was 6 years old, I was at school, elementary school, and I was waiting for my mom to pick me up from school. And on the school ground, there was like nobody really around. And this stray dog walks across the street. I pet the stray dog, and very friendly. And what I did not know is that there was three sixth graders that were there at that school on a jungle gym, kind of behind me. They were yelling and stuff like that, doing stuff. And what I they started approaching me very rapidly. And looking back at it, they were actually showing off in front of these girls. Uh, but I got the crap beat out of me by three sixth graders for nothing. And I had a lot of anger in my heart. And literally, I got stomped on, got the wind knocked out of me. Um, all I knew is that I was petting a dog, and that's the next thing. These kids jumped me, and this was way back when, right in the 70s. So um, I had a lot of hate in my heart, and my dad, he one day he took me to a drive-in theater, and I laid on the hood of my dad's car, and we watched this movie, and oh my God, I saw Bruce Lee for the very first time, and I knew what I wanted to do. I At first it was about revenge, right? I never got my revenge. Uh, I still don't, to this very day, have a clue who those kids were, and but I had a lot of anger, and I thought that's what I want to do because I saw this one guy, and he took care of business, and he came up with very little scratches at all, and I said that's what I want to be like. And when I turned 7 in July of that year, uh, my dad signed me up in my first karate school. It was Kempo karate. It was Chinese Kempo, as a matter of fact, Parker system. And that Parker was still around back in the day, and then it became, of course, tied into American karate, or American Kempo karate, I should say. And I got a chance to actually play both fields of the dynamics between the Parker system and the Tracy system back in the day. So I was very blessed. As time went on, my sensei at the time knew what happened, and he could tell uh, the anger that I had inside of me. Right. So time went on. That anger left. He channeled it into something more productive in martial arts, and that's where the roots started. And I told myself ever since I was a little kid, if I could give back what my instructors gave to me on the confidence and never letting, whether it's a kid or an adult, male, female, doesn't matter, anybody being bullied aggressively, where they lay their hands on you or threaten your life. I want to give back that gift that I was given of self-confidence, and that's what martial arts has done for me. So that's my foundation, my roots behind what I do.
Very nice, very nice. Now, so with that first school,
Mhm.
it was uh, just to kind of clear it up there. So you were training. This school did both the Tracy's and the Ed Parker American Kempo
Well,
curriculum, or
it started underneath the Parker system, and then one thing led to another. Uh, my instructor let my original instructor left. He was Where I was from is Wichita Falls, which is just north of the DFW area, and there's a military base. It's a Shepherd Air Force Base. So a lot of my guys that taught me back in the day, they were military. So they would be deported somewhere else, right? So someone else comes in, and then one thing led to another. Was not the Tracy, the Parker system. Tracy's took over and became the dominant name brand when it dealt with Kimpo there. Now there were still a couple of black belts that floated around that were the diehard Parker, and that they wouldn't change at all. And so I went toggled back and forth from them. And I started when I was 7. I got my first degree black belt in Kimpo when I turned 14. But then finally, uh, I again my there's such a turnover rate when you start to get to know your instructor, and if they were in the military, then they leave, right? The government tells them where they have to go next. So um, after I got my first degree black belt, I played. I use the word play loosely, judo, and got to. Back in the day, there was three, like in most martial arts, there were three major belts before you get to black. There was white, uh, there was green, brown, and then you got your blacks. And then it became more Americanized, where you got multiple belts. And Parker was the same way. He started implementing a lot of different color belts and stuff like that. Mainly because of student retention. That's what it's really about. But I also did Shotokan karate for a while. Never got black belts in either one of them. And then I had this Korean instructor. His name is Chun Han, and he was kind of fresh straight out of Korea. So he had broken English, and the old school day. He well, how I got involved with him, he had a one man band, which was just himself doing a demonstration publicly. And the things that I saw this man do that I never saw in Kimpo, I went, "Oh my god, I want to do that." Now that's really interesting. Um, I joined Master Han. He was teaching Mudokan Taekwondo, and went back to white belt again. So it became very humbling whenever I switched systems. Um, m- every one of my instructors, they didn't honor the black belt that you receive from another style. Some of them do, but a lot of them, the ones that I went to, No, you different system, different methods, different way. Start back to white belt. So it became very humbling where uh, ego didn't set in on black belt, what you have around your waist. So I came from that mind of school. You go today and you tell a person they're going to have to start all the way back down to white belt, and you start to see their teeth grit a little bit. I see it all the time. Because it's the ego. That they they take too much into consideration about what's around their waist instead of the knowledge that they're about to gain in a different way, right?
Yeah, I
Uh,
can definitely relate. So, I started. I got to my green belt in the Chinese Kempo school, and then
Mhm.
when I started in American Kempo, I had the thought that, well, I guess I should go back a little bit. I didn't really realize that there were different flavors of Kempo at the time, and
Right, right.
when I started at the school that I train with now. Uh, I had to go back to white belt, and I admit
Mhm.
that stung a little bit, but I'm glad that I was able to do that in that I've gained so much more knowledge uh, as a lower belt
Yes, yes.
now than I did at my previous school. So uh, yeah, it's
It
definitely
goes back
about
to that.
learning and not
Right.
just what's
It
around your
it
waist.
goes back to that old parable about, you have a cup. Is your cup, full? If it is, you can't drink any more, right? From that cup. It's a full cup. You have to empty it in order to be replenished anew, right? So the emptiness is digesting what you already know. That's the metaphor, not forgetting. And a lot of people think that, oh, I gotta forget what I know. It's not about that. It's about refining. You keep what you know, and you use what you know to the best of your abilities, and then you take more knowledge, and then you refine what you've already been given and what you are given into what you are, what you become, right? So it's that metaphor about absorbing knowledge, not forgetting about it, but putting aside, and then comparing and contrasting the abilities and the teachings that are bestowed upon you. But I met you. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I don't remember.
I think it was last year.
Last year, because I brought Bill Wallace in. I met him when I was 9 years old at my Kimpo school, and that's the other thing. So traditional Kimpo, I don't know on where your instructor saw this, but traditional Kimpo, we never kicked above the waist level. That was it. We had close quarter combat, predominantly using hands. No kicks above the. It's like we never even heard of that. And then they bring Superfoot Wallace in when he was in his prime, and he was a world champion and stuff like that, going through the his competitions. And I saw this guy doing a seminar, and that son of a gun can kick to the head. I went, oh, looks like okay. Traditionally, we were kind of touching the ideas about people kicking to the head because you saw that a lot in taekwondo people, right? Um, and then that's my first time I ever met Bill Wallace, and we never knew each other, but I worked with him, and he came in a couple of times in my Kempo school. They invited him in just really to better their skills in fighting. That's really what it was, right? And then when I got with Master Han, and I saw those kicks to the head again, that reminded me of Bill Wallace. I went, oh, that's what I want to do. So for a while, I surrendered myself to Mudokan, and I got a few black belts underneath my ranks underneath black belts in Mudokan underneath Master Han, and then later I met General Choi Hung Hee, which is the founder who coined the name Taekwondo in 1956. And General Choi, who was a Rock Army general, I met him through a good buddy of mine who moved to the north, and I fell in love with ITF Taekwondo because the difference was like night and day. The difference was more scientific based on ITF Taekwondo. It was the traditional. true taekwondo. And where the other one became more as it started progressing in the 80s and 90s, it started becoming more of an Olympic sport. And it started doing away with some of their self defense stuff and focused more on just points. How many kicks can you get to the head? And I also really fell in love with a lot of board breaks in Taekwondo altogether, Mudokan and ITF. But that too was like night and day. Whereas in the Mudokan, uh, I was very good, thought I was really great at doing breaks when I was kicking two, three, four boards at a time that were not spaced but put together. And I thought, wow, now I got power. And then I go over to General Choi, and his first degree black belt level is a minimum of six boards standing side kick, not moving in, just picking up that foot and breaking it 6 inches of wood without spacers. I went, holy crap, how do I do that? So I was really sold with General Choi's philosophy and his methods. And uh, traditionally, I got in a traditional system, the highest rank is a sixth degree black belt in ITF Taekwondo. But then when General Choi passed, I kind of gave up. I just kind of soul searched myself, and I created Tong Lo, which is kind of what you know me doing now. And 30 years. This is we're in the 30-year mark of the creation, which is a hybrid system that I coined 30 years ago in 1994, and it takes disciplines from where I've started all the way to where I'm at, and I merged them together. We got the Kimpo Karate, of course, that was our foundation. We have the all the kicks of Taekwondo. We have all the jujitsu because I played with jujitsu and aikijitsu specifically, and aikido for the redirection of energy, learning how to throw, learning how to fall properly, and jujitsu for joint manipulation and some ground tactics. And then I've been involved in Muay Thai for oh, probably close to about 30 years as well. So we took the strengths I did from each one of those and blended them together. I threw away the stuff that I felt doesn't work traditionally. For instance, I don't know, we don't do defense against soldiers on horses anymore. So some of the stereo, right, yeah, no. So we modernized it, yeah. So the I created the name Tong Yellow, which means path to unity, and it's become
Yeah,
more of a
probably don't
science
use that
because
too
I
much
also
these days.
teach not only the technique but of the martial arts, but I also teach the basis of the psychology of an attack. So psychology is implemented in there. Kinesiology, which is understanding body mechanics, how to stretch properly. You learned a little bit about that through Bill Wallace and whoever else you train with, and the body movements itself, how to get the maximum power with the least amount of effort, right? So we got kinesiology, and then we also implement physics, understanding physics, and this is for all ages, including my youngers. They understand the basics of physics, and then we go into formulas as they progress into higher ranks, understanding how gravity takes effect in your techniques, how laws of inertia, centrifugal and centripetal forces affect your techniques. So it's now become, I teach actually what I call as a martial science, not a martial art, even though the roots are martial arts.
Gotcha, gotcha. I wanted to get more into that, but I want to jump back
Sure.
real quick. In your early Kempo days,
Hmm.
so with me having done kind of the two main systems I had, or two main flavors of Kempo,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of well, I've had a lot of difficulty. Uh, I guess um, unlearning, unlearning, or getting away from things that I was used to doing. So I'm curious, when you were, since we're kind of bouncing back and forth between the flavors? Was there a lot of difficulty in uh, picking up the techniques and the
Are you
curriculum?
talking
Or
about the difference between Tracy's and Parker system or
yes,
something else?
yes, yeah,
Okay. So, I mean, the foundation's the foundation. Okay. So I don't know if everybody's got their own um, storylines, what they know of what happened to the split and stuff like that from Raymond Chow and passed on to the knowledge of Ed Parker. Uh, and he started saying, "Hey, let's change this." So even true Kimpo as we know today is a hybrid. It's not this is Kimpo. It's really based on different formats from different styles. Um, so, but when the the bouncing back between the two, the elements of the strikes, the elements of the blocks, the stances were the same. The differences were the self defense techniques because uh, back in the day, there was a split between Al Tracy and Ed Parker. And Al Tracy, he took the East Coast, and Parker was saturating the West Coast and everything in between. And so, personal and business complications were debated between both of them. And Tracy just took it to a different level when it came to self defense. For instance, when I started, now I'm not sure if this has changed because it's been a long time since I've been in Gimpo, but when I started, Ed Parker's system, we had 125 self defense techniques, okay, from white all the way up. Uh, eh, now that's Ed Parker style. Now when you switched over to the Tracy's, there's over 300 self defense techniques. So it's just the similarities. The methods are the same. The differences are really memorizing the maybe a different form, as well as a lot more self defense. So if which was great because that's what I would for me that just gave me more ammunition, right? Because remember my roots started me getting the crap beat out of me, right? So give me more. How can I, tell me, show me more technique, show me because self defense. I just had a funny. I just right before this conversation between you and I just had a student of mine and a longtime friend um, was debating about self defense, predominantly some of the stuff that I teach in Tong Hello. And I was telling him, I said, "You're forgetting something. Maybe you don't know, but I'm going to teach this into you either way it goes. Self defense is based on theory. That's it. There's no absolute self defense techniques that works 100% of the time for 100% of the people. Doesn't work that way. We have different body masses, we have different genders, male and female. So a male strength is predominantly a lot more heavier on the upper body, whereas a female strength is on the lower half. All right, their muscle structure is different. Um, Different arm lengths, different leg lengths. So our sizes are different. So everything, whoever you talk to and say, "Well, this is going to work all the time." No, it's not. Okay, it's absolutely not. And from all of my years of knowing different styles and talking to different people, and actually using this stuff. Sadly enough, I'm not trying to gloat, but in street combat, uh, not everything you learn works. It's not based on 100% factual. It's based on theory. That's it. So when I get into these debates with people about, oh well, this doesn't work because you don't know, you haven't isolated the technique yet. If that's the only way you're teaching it, then you're right. It doesn't work now. But there's different steps. For instance, in Kempo, um, there's different versions of a self-defense technique. Just name something. You have a version and a B version, right? So Ed Parker knew that. It's not factual. It's not a proven one technique fits everybody. It doesn't work that way. So why teach it that way? Right? So I don't know if I kind of went on a tangent that way, but ideally the self defense give me more. When I was in Kempo, I wanted more because my base root was me having a lot of hate in my heart because I got beat up.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
To kind of continue on that question, so
Mhm.
when you moved from Kempo to Taekwondo, uh,
Sure.
was there a learning curve, or did you find
Big.
difficulty in going, switching from Kempo to Taekwondo, or
Well, I would question because I've already got a black belt in Kimbo, right? And so I've already been, I hate to say this word, but it's true, crystallized in thought. Okay. And so, especially at a younger age, it's like sometimes you have this ego as younger age. Well, how's this going to work? This doesn't work. You know, my previous training says it doesn't work. And that's that emptying of the cup, right? Yeah, I found out it does work. Now the differences I found out are a lot of kicks that absolutely 100% of the time in my background from my training. Kicking wise, you can't beat Taekwondo stylists. That is their specialty on whatever aerial kicks, ground kicks, whatever. Not saying that the other arts are not effective. That's what they specialize in. It's just like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Are you going to go toe to toe with a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu knowing that they're going to take you on the ground and you have no skill, right? On the ground. That's foreign to you. If you're a boxer, no, you're not. You're going to be taken down to the ground, and now everything you learned just went out that window, right? And vice versa. They don't want to be on the ground. They don't want to stand up. They like being on the ground. So they have their strengths. So my adjustment was differences in the kicks, the different knee loads, the delivery between them, the setups. Because the Taekwondo stylist predominantly they used a lot of their self defense um, from another system. Some of them from Hapkido, okay, more joint locks and stuff like that. Taekwondo itself, Muay or ITF Taekwondo, traditional Taekwondo is designed to be a fighting art, a stand-up combative art, not against headlocks and stuff like that. So they borrow a lot of their self-defense from other styles, in this case, predominantly Korean styles like Hapkido, as I mentioned. So, uh, but there wasn't that much of a hardship once I learned that wow, this really does work, and how I learned it really does work is when my masters put me in the holds or put me in a joint like I've never felt before, or kicked me in a different way. Um, breaking breaking boards. Nope. Traditionally, now Kimpo's changed a little bit. They added on to it. Some people they break boards in their schools. Kimpo's not a breaking art. They don't break boards, right? Um, but when I applied the kicking techniques that I would do on striking boards, it would take me more than one time to go through that board, even if it's a 1 inch board, because the delivery, the knee load is different. So the power structure is different. Kimpo's based a lot on fluidity and speed. And that fluidity dynamic and the speed dynamic is generates the power through your body weight, right? So the basic laws, I'm not going to go dive into it too deep, but on a simplified version, the physics version of what creates power is mass, your body weight, times velocity square equals power. P equals mv square. What that means is that if you got the speed and everything, and you got your body mass, then that delivery of the technique will create power if you know how to generate the proper way. But the dynamics between one system and another was really the, as I'm reiterating, when it dealt with kicks, uh, the chambering, the knee loads, because taekwondo's, their kicks are based on more power, more power, more power. General Choi, he had a motto that he coined way back when, and the motto was this: victory with a single blow. Sounds pretty good to me. You hit me, I go down, so it looks like you win, right? Then why does Kempo have all of these multiple strikes? If you look at that philosophy versus just focusing on, I'm going to hit you one time, finish the fight. I can go home. I can go eat some ice cream while you cry home to mama or something, right? You sob up your tears. Well, I use this philosophy on this because, again, Reggie, I'm seeing it from different minds, different trainings from different people, and then I have teach my own philosophy and methods. I believe victory with a single blow is important. I hit my opponent, he goes down, why continue? I can walk away, done, with one shot. If you can do that, do it. It saves a lot of time, saves a lot of energy. But what if that one shot doesn't work? What if you miss? So I use this as an analogy. Do you have firearms?
Yes.
You do. What kind do you have?
It's actually my wife's, and I believe it is a 38.
A 38. Okay. So, 6 rounds in it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So whether you're talking about a revolver or a semi-automatic, let's just pretend whatever, whatever police officers use or you use. When you load that gun, how many rounds do you put in?
One at a time.
One at a time. And then you're ready for combat by loading it to its full capacity, probably, right?
Correct.
Something goes wrong. But you don't just put one bullet in and leave the rest on the shelf, do you?
Nope, not
No.
at all.
So same thing with a cop. If he just, let's just say law enforcement, goes out and finds himself in a nasty situation, he has to draw his firearm. He has 1 round. Whether it be against one person or multiple, let's just say one person, he better be a damn good shot the first time, especially with a moving target. It's one thing to hit a target that's not moving. When something's moving, it's different, right? And then you got to be so precise with that round. We're talking firearm now. That if you miss, what is that bullet going to hit? What's the next target that's the bullet's going to sink itself into? That's not the one you wanted. Now you could have hurt a innocent bystander, but take that away. If I only shot 1 round and then I have to reload, I have to find something, or maybe I don't have anything else, and my buddy has a lot, I'm kind of screwed. The odds are not in my favor for that. Same thing with Kempo. And I don't call these things, you've probably heard, overkill techniques, right? Kempo is noted for people say, oh, it's overkill, right? I get it. There's a lot of stuff going on because we work the body up and down, back and forth until we're done, and then we clear out to a safe distance. But ideally, what if that one victory with a single blow idea? You hit somebody. Let's just say you really hit them. It doesn't affect them. That's that 1 round that you only had in your firearm, and now you run out of shots. So I think you have to have that mentality. If I can end it in 1 round, beautiful. Don't do any more. But what if you miss? Or what if the shot hits and the person's still attacking you? What do you do next? With the mentality of the victory with a single blow, which is a great mentality, if that's all you're stuck with and it doesn't work, now you're going to freeze. And now the odds are against you. So in Kempo and other systems that may be like Kempo, where they have a rapid fire, we'll say, multiple shots, hand, foot, working the body high and low, you probably have a better offense and a defense that will work for you in your arson, just like a firearm that has more than one round. That's that's my philosophy. I hope that makes sense to you.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I like it. It makes perfect sense. Gotta have the different tools in your toolbox. You may not
You
use
got to.
every tool, but it's good to have it
Yes, sir.
for when you need it. So I
Yes,
like that.
sir.
I like that. Now, with you being more self defense focused, I'm curious. I guess this will be kind of a two part question, or at least kind of
Okay.
related. But first
Sure.
part of it is, did you do any kind of competing at all?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, uh, back in the older days, just with Kimpo, when I was just in the karate field, we did the AOK type point fighting. Um, uh, but I got really heavily involved more into the taekwondo tournaments. Not what you see nowadays. Not this. It's continuous fighting. I liked the continuous fighting part. Okay, but it wasn't these taekwondo people that people look at and say, "Oh, that's taekwondo." Again, traditionally, that's not the real. That's not the way it looks in the tournaments. ITF taekwondo versus a lot of the other taekwondos will say ITF is, first of all, it stands for International Taekwondo Federation. Okay, that's general choice traditional taekwondo. Then it broke off into because of politics. The Korean government developed something called the WTF, World Taekwondo, and they took it focused on sport. So a lot of people they don't, especially in our area, in the like a Dallas Fort Worth area, there's not too many of us ITF people that are around here at all. Um, and so all you see is a lot of WTF sport taekwondo, and they don't like using their hands. They always have to use those legs. But in ITF, we use our hands. So I really liked that, and I got highly involved in competing internationally as well. So I was very blessed to uh, to compete both locally, nationally, and some international tournaments.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Um, so, I, actually, to kind of add on to that question, or kind of
Sure.
change it a little bit. Like I've watched some of the Olympic Taekwondo, and I have
Yeah.
a number of friends that are in Taekwondo, and not a whole lot of fans for the Olympic style, and just kind of
Nope.
from with what your experience, uh, what could be done to maybe change it or make it more interesting, or just maybe where would you like to see
Honestly,
that go?
if they were going to do taekwondo rules, so to speak, I would alter the rules a little bit. I don't mind where they always focus on those darn legs, which I'm a taekwondo style, so I have rights to criticize this. So I have all full rights. I'm a master in taekwondo as well. So I'm going to tell you, if you don't know how to use your hands and I crowd you, what do you want to do? You want to back up. Guess what? I learned your weakness. I'm going to crowd you, and God forbid I take you to the ground if I know how to ground work and you don't. They, my son, he's about to be 18, coming up just a few days away. I've been very blessed. He's the tournaments he's won. He's always won first place. He's never been to a taekwondo tournament. He's always been on these karate tournaments where it's point separate, point separate. Now, because we fight, I like fighting, continuous fighting. But we fight, I will punch you to the head. ITF Taekwondo does that. A WTF, the sport Olympic Taekwondo, does not. So it's taking something away from that. Because in reality, if that's how you're training, which is fine, I guess if all you're focusing on is a game, but isn't it supposed to be a martial art, which means an art of war? Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Reggie. Headshots are legal in street fights. What do you think?
Yeah, they sure
I
are.
think groin shots are legal in street fights. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
The last time I checked. And I don't think, I may have been mistaken, I don't think anybody asked to referee a street fight. Not when I was encountering one. I don't know about yourself, but if that happens, let me know how that goes. So I really think that the taekwondo needs to be more focused on open targets. If the head's an open target, yeah, kick to the head. But if you're too close, use your hands. I have a buddy of mine that is a karate guy, and I'm holding a tournament later on this year, uh, and next year. I used to have tournaments all over the time, place as well. One of my rules is I don't like restrictions. Remember, no punching to the head. No, 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 no. We're going to punch the head. But the restrictions are this. I don't like some of the karate rules. I'm gonna go on the karate side because I'm a karate guy too. So I'm going to criticize their rules. Here's my criticism. Where the hell did 2 points to the head come from on a foot technique? But if I hit you in the head with my hand, it's only 1 point. What's that about? Oh, I get it. They want kicks up. But here's the deal. What if a person can't kick to the head? What if they are immobile by flexibility or range of motion or maybe a hip displacement? They can't be a superfoot. You're going to penalize them? I think that's BS. My tournaments, it's 1 point all the way across the board. You kick to the head, 1 point. You punch to the head, it's 1 point. Same thing to the body. You shouldn't be penalizing somebody just for a pretty kick to the head. I think we're focused on, again, developing the skills in the ring, but in a combat form for martial art purposes, still respecting your opponent, still having fun, no blood sport stuff, but equal out the points. Make it all 1 point. Because otherwise you're kind of discriminating against people who can't. And now they got to work harder to beat the people who can. What do you think about that?
No, I like that. I've actually never really thought about the difference in that. I mean, I'm a I've always been a kicker, and more
Yeah.
interested in kicking. My first Kempo school, our my instructor was very familiar with Taekwondo and trained Taekwondo. So
Yes, sir.
we were much
Yeah.
more kickers than Kempo schools typically are. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just always been a fan of it, and I do like that they're more flashier and
Oh, yeah.
it's much cooler to watch a nice hook kick versus
You bet.
a back knuckle to the face. But uh, yeah, there's not everyone can just like you said, not everyone can kick to the head or kick to the head is as easy uh, as someone else. And
Yes,
when
exactly.
you have a tournament where you have different styles, you
Mhm.
want to have more of a equal playing field. And yeah, if you have taekwondo people at a tournament and you have your traditional karate guys or your kempo
Yeah.
guys and stuff like that, kickers
And
are going to have an advantage in that scenario where they get more points.
yes.
So yeah, I
Yes.
definitely think it should be uh, more in
Even
line
Steven, right?
with yeah, more even
Yeah.
and just more in
When
line with the idea that yes, this is a combat art. So with the tournament, with the the point sparring situation, I when I was coming up, the watching the point sparring stuff was so exciting. I watch it now and I'm like, this is just a weird version of tag, and I don't I it's I mean the people they're not in fighting stances.
Mhm.
A lot of times that I've seen matches, they don't even have their hands up at all, and it doesn't look anything like what we're are training to do. So I totally
Yeah. Yeah.
understand that there are some that you do have to make changes but they don't have to be as drastic as some of these systems, tournaments, whatever are doing. Because I look at something
Exactly.
like Kyokushin,
Hmm.
and they don't have gear.
Right.
They don't punch to the head, but they pretty much do. They pretty much fight the way that they train, and
Right.
I'm a big proponent of you're going to fight how you train, and that's one of the things that I've been enjoying about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and kind of the same thing with capoeira. You can
Yes.
pretty much go full bore, full 100% in your quote unquote sparring than some of the other arts. And yes, granted, yeah, you can't do an arm break in kempo because you want your buddy to come back and train with you the next day. But
Right. Right.
I think we can definitely get closer in our tournaments to the real way that these things are
Realism.
supposed to
Be
be
more
done.
realistic, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
And still have you still got to learn to control, pull your punches and kicks. Where you're not going to send the person to the hospital. That's not the we're not doing the Jean Claude Van Damme blood sport reunion, right? But it is about that, and I think it's about that's now focused on the self control part in the martial arts, right? So because you can know all the pretty techniques and everything, and you're hitting this bag, but that bag doesn't feel anything, right? But you hit a person that feels, hey, you know what? I always say, okay, well, let's spar. Well, what's our power going to be like? I say, I'll tell you what, um, you choose. But I'm going to tell you, however much force you're going to throw into me, I'm coming back at you. So remember, if we're going to go all out, so am I. So there's that deliverance and that showing of respect, right? So it's like, oh, wow, this does hurt because if I hurt him, I don't want to get hit in the nose either, right?
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I always have a laugh with people that I train with, and we're will be sparring, whatever, and or working a technique, and they give me a little shot or something, and they're so apologetic, which I
Sure.
appreciate it, but I always tell them, unless I fall down to the ground and I'm out, or if I'm screaming, I'm fine. If you give me a little
Yeah.
tap on the
Hmm.
nose, a kick gets through my defense, and it gives me a little shot or whatever. If I'm not screaming, I'm all right. Let's keep going. And uh, I I think a lot of course, not every school is this way, and not every student is this way, but
Sure.
I definitely feel like there is a bit of softening or whatnot in a lot lot of these schools these days, and
You
I
know,
think we need to kind
you
of
mentioned
move
softening.
away
That
from
kind of
that.
triggers something in my training in the past. You also this goes back to a question you asked. How was it different from the Kimpo versus like the Taekwondo training that I underwent with Grandmaster Han? When he first came in, he didn't have a lot of freaking students. I mean, literally, when people showed up, they were going, "Oh God, I don't know if I want to train this way." Because Grandmaster Han, traditionally, I was trained. Now, this is a totally different mindset because Kimpo schools didn't do this. Master Han would carry a shinai, which is a bamboo sword, in his dojang, in his school. And when you're doing like let's just say a front stance with a punch, if you didn't do it right, as he walked past you, bam, you're gonna hit that shinai hits that arm or that leg, and you fix it because he had very little English dialect, so it's very hard broken English. That Shania was his English, and the mentality, the discipline was different. You do the Shania thing here now, you hit you hit Junior with a bamboo sword, and you hit him, not tap him. Bam! See what's going to happen. Your Junior's dad's going to pull him. The discipline's different. I grew up kind of an old. This is my old school. You said you grew up back in the '90s, right? So
Yes.
10 years, 20 years, 30 years before that, some of the some of the disciplines different. In the karate section back in the day with some of our DFW greats, our Texas greats like Pat Burleson and Alan Steen, that was the pioneers. I remember Pat Burleson telling me, um, Grandmaster Burleson, and he's no longer with us, but he told me a story that, and Joe Lewis did the same thing. As a matter of fact, they almost coincided. Um, there were the days on testing your skill was we're going to go down to the local bar and let's see how it actually works. So that's the whole the old school blood and guts days, right? And where they didn't have the tournament pads on and stuff like that, but you still had to learn good self control. But to test it out, they wouldn't. There's only so much you could do in your classroom because if you go full out, you're not going to have any more students left.
Exactly.
So we
Exactly.
have to we have to pick a fight, I guess. That's the old school mentality. Nowadays it's like, no, we try to avoid all that stuff, right? But you just hope that your techniques truly work.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So I've got another question. I mean, of course, there's always with this show, there's always so much I want to get to, and there's
Yes, sir.
so little time to do it. So we'll definitely have to uh,
Right.
do multiple parts at
Sure.
some point. But got another
Anything
question.
I can do to help you out.
And I've got another question before we move
Mhm.
into our lightning round here.
Oh,
So
okay.
this question is, since you're fan of breaking and whatnot, what is your hardest, most difficult break or most interesting break you've done?
At one time back in the day, when I was training hardcore all the time, and I tee up taekwondo, and like I said before that, breaks were like one, two, three boards if I'm lucky, right? And you got spacers and on concrete. Hey, try taking the spacers out. The maximum I've ever done, maximum. Not saying I couldn't probably do more, but the max I maxed out at without spacers, with concrete, were 8 inches. That's four 2-inch patio blocks, no spacers. But now the boards, and you can't hand hold these. You have to have a mechanical device to brace it. Maximum I've ever done for a competition, 15 boards, no spaces, jump spinning back kick.
Very nice, very nice.
Yep. And I say that and people say, "Oh, there's no way you can." I got videos, I got photos. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean it can't be done. You got to understand the application and how it really works. The beginner, no, you're not going to do that. You'd be lucky to break one board, right? So,
Very nice. Yeah, I like it. I haven't really done. I've technically done a few board breaks back in the day. I don't
hmm
really think about them too much, but now that I'm back into the Hapkido world, once I get up into the higher belts, then uh, doing some breaks are required for uh, some of the higher belts.
let,
So it's been
let,
kind of
let
on
me
my mind
ask
a little
you,
bit.
Reggie, let me ask you, why do you think they're required? Because like Kimpo is not a requirement. At least I don't know now, but when I trained,
Hmm.
we didn't do that stuff, right?
Hmm.
Why do you think board breaks are? Do you feel, first of all, do you think that they're necessary? And if so, why?
I don't really think they're necessary. I think that they are a good kind of tool in that
hmm
one, it helps with the actual technique. If you don't have a good technique, you're not going to get through the board. And
Exactly.
then it's also a good mental and emotional thing. I mean, I've
hmm
only broken like one or two boards. Maybe I've done like three, but
Right.
when I did them, that's a huge mental boost, ego boost, confidence boost.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To be like, oh well, I've broken through this thing that I shouldn't be able to punch or kick this thing and get through it, but I was able to do that. So I think it's a good tool. Not necessary, but something that I think should be available. People should try it, and
So, not to, I'll send you information, but I do board breaking workshops a lot, you know, and before I got into Taekwondo, I really never gave it much thought, but now I understand why. And it is, of course, it does build confidence, right? Like martial arts is directed to. But ideally is this, and when I would do competitions with other black belts from different styles, for instance, Goju is a really solid art, right? However, I've seen their black belts, and I'm not saying who, but but black belts underneath the directorship of a really good master that I know is legitimate, and they couldn't break one board with a front kick. They slide off. So you don't. The way I teach it is this: is that board breaks, whether you do 1 or 15, whatever. The idea of that is to testing your skill on deliverance to see if you can generate maximum power with the least amount of effort. So, one board, if you got the right board, number 2, white pine, averages. Everybody's different. You and me are built differently slightly. But an average rib cage, on the rib cage, the lower rib frame, it takes about 16 pounds of pressure, ballpark, to snap an adult rib. That is what it's going to take to snap one board that I just told you about. So your technique, you really don't know, is it effective enough? Because I'm not going to say, okay, Reggie, hey, open your arms up. I want to see if my technique really works and send you to the hospital. We can't do that. So we have to have a measuring tool. That measuring tool, one of them are the boards. Because if you can't get through that with a simple front kick or a punch, are you doing the technique right? If you're not doing it right, how are you going to perform on the street with victory with a single blow? That type of mentality.
exactly. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move into our lightning round here. Just a few questions as we head towards wrapping up here. First
Okay.
question being, do you have a favorite technique?
Favorite technique. I like the combination back fist, hook kick.
Very nice. Very nice. I
That's
like it.
that's my favorite.
I like it. I like it. All right. Next question. Do you have a favorite form and or set?
Wow, you open up a can of worms. I don't really have a favorite form because I really focus my structure a lot of self defense. Um, I like Panther set in the
Uh,
Kimpo. I like some of the Taekwondo forms. Well, one of my favorites is Tong Il, not because of my system's name, but it's a 6th degree form in ITF Taekwondo. It's a beautiful form, very powerful and very agile as well. So those are probably my 2 favorites.
Very nice. I like it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Panther set, or also known as
Mhm.
book set,
Oh yeah,
in
booked
the
it. Yeah.
Kempo
Mhm.
world. So, yeah, that's always been one of my favorites, and typically typically do it a couple times a week. So,
Oh, cool. Very
because
nice.
I like it. All right. Next question. Do you have a favorite weapon?
That's not part of my body. I
Right,
like.
that
I always like traditional weapons besides the guns that we have in today's times. But traditional weapons, I love. I love sword and I love nunchuck.
no, very nice. Very nice. I like it. All right. And then our final question: if there is anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, uh,
Oh
you're kind
wow,
of outside of Kempo. So I usually phrase this with besides Ed Parker, but yeah, anyone, and you can include people that you have trained with if you want. But yeah, just
sure, sure.
anyone ever existed, or fictional or non-fictional, that you'd like to train with. Who would that be?
Well, very blessed to always be in contact and train with Bill Wallace. So I'm very blessed with that. Superfoot's a magnificent educator. Um, Not alive. Anybody says differently, I don't know why. In my times, Bruce Lee. I'd love to pick his brain, and technique wise. Um, and I would also, honestly, I I've trained. I never trained with him, but I seen him in action in Hawaii. I would really like to train with Ed Parker. I would love to pick his brain as well. Back in the day, um, fictional. I don't know. I'm always a John Wick fan. I'd like to train with that kind of complexity,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah,
So
for sure, for sure. I like it. I like it. Great answer. All right, so now we are moving into our time for shameless self promotion. So you can
mm,
plug anything you want, or if there's anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that we get out there today, you have the floor. Say whatever you like, and then we'll close out from there.
well, thank you so much. Well, I'm great at promoting events. I hold some events such as where I bet you. I brought in Bill Superfoot Wallace to our area. I bring him in a lot. I try to bring in other legends, Don Wilson, uh, Cynthia Rothrock, a few others. If you're interested in learning from some of these great legends in martial arts, come look me up, William McDonald. Tag it with either Grandmaster or martial arts. I'm all over the place. We're about to hold a board breaking workshop the end of March here in Coppell. And I'm got to promote my system, Tong Il Lo Martial Science. It's been around now, incredible, by many martial artists sitting on test boards from different systems. Um, it's been around now for 30 years, started in 1994.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, and I will make sure to put links and to all your things here in the show notes. But yeah,
Yes, sir.
no,
Thank you so much.
I thank you. Yeah, once again, I
I
can't.
really enjoyed you as a host. I don't know if you knew this. I may have told you this. I used to do my own podcast show. Actually, it was the very first martial art podcast when podcasts began back in the day, called Karate Cast Network, and I had like 53 countries worldwide tap into our show. And I want to say that the way you're running this, you've got a great voice, you got great talent, and good questions
Yeah.
for your interviews.
Well, thank you, thank you. I enjoy doing the show. I love getting to talk to people and hear their stories, and I've just been really happy at the way things have been going, and yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, as long as people such as yourself continue to agree to be on, I will keep on keeping on and trying to keep these stories out there for people to hear. So,
I
yeah.
can only wish you the best, my friend.
All right. Well, yes. Yeah. Thank you for being on, and I will be in touch when this is ready to go out. But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
thank you for sharing your story, and we'll definitely have to get into more items on another episode at another time. But yeah, thank you.
Sure, no problem. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you for listening to My Empty Hands. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend. If you didn't enjoy it, please share it with an enemy. If you'd like to be a guest, or if you would like to recommend a guest for the show, please email me at podcast@talkingkempo.com. Thank you.